Our next speaker was actually titled Sales Hacker at Hubspot. He's one of their earliest sales employees and grew their outbound team and what was the other?
E-commerce.
E-commerce team. Please welcome John Marcus.
All right, can you guys hear me all right? Good? Oh my God, I gotta get like the third cup of coffee. Okay, everybody stand up. I know somebody does this at every single conference. Stretch it out. Yeah, a couple twists. Look to your left. I hate that guy. Look to the right. They're gonna be your next deal. You know, I don't know. Shake it. Introduce yourself. I'm John Marcus, CEO and co-founder of Bedrock Data. Bedrock Data is an integration platform between all these different business systems, and that's all I'm going to talk about for Bedrock Data. Today, I want to talk about viral sales. Anybody have an idea what viral sales is? Just yell it out. Like, what is viral sales? Like, what's this thing? Like, what's? Yeah, YouTube stuff. Ooh, a little hot. YouTube stuff and like cool videos, and that's not viral sales. Okay, that's viral marketing. That's growth hacking. And to some extent, that's a bunch of baloney. It's a bunch of BS. So who's this guy who's sitting on stage? That's me. I usually wear a lab coat at this. No, I don't. So I was one of the first guys over at Hubspot, grew their outbound sales team, all that SDR, BDR stuff. Aaron Ross's material is actually really solid. I was building that same stuff while he was writing it. I can definitely say that it works. Now I'm kind of gone beyond that. I went up into the mountains, had a little transcendent experience, and I said this whole sales team thing is like unnecessary. Outside sales, yeah, that's broken. You heard that in the first session. Inside sales, oh, that's cool. And I don't have any salespeople. All right, I am the entire sales team at Bedrock Data. 90% of the deals that we close, I don't touch. And I have a software product that touches the very core of your CRM data, the core of your marketing data, your financial data. And people go to my website and they sign up on their own. And the way that we've been able to achieve that is through this whole viral sales model. All right, so why are we doing this? Well, first I want to talk a little bit about the methodology when I go through and I pick up like a sales hack. So at HubSpot, I built a full ton of productivity tools, and I studied the processes of nature. All right, in this case, we're talking about virology, we're talking about pharmacokinetics, we're talking about biology and chemistry. Any doctors in the house? I apologize. I'm going to smash all that stuff together, and it's not going to make any sense to you. But for the rest of you, just like bear with me and go look up this stuff on Wikipedia. All right. The whole idea of viral sales is to be able to get above and beyond 100%. You and I have the same 24 hours in a day that Elon Musk does, that Richard Branson does, that Mark Roberge does. I don't know. I worked with him. He had the same 24 hours than I did, yet somehow he was able to achieve more than I was. And I wanted to take kind of this next step in sales evolution, find a way to hack the actual sales rep. And what we're going to do here is we're going to learn about a method studied from virology, from Mother Nature itself, to be able to build a viral sales channel that'll help you to close the deals. How many of you were actually interested when you read this whole like viral sales thing? Interested, like positive, like I give it a thumbs up. How many of you thought it was total bullshit? Okay, that's fine too. Hopefully I convince you otherwise. I'm going to walk you through the process from the virological standpoint, and then how we do it at Bedrock Data, and then specifically how you can implement it in your own sales team. All right. We'll start off with a thing called mechanism of action. Much less, text on the slide. It just feels better. It feels lucid. So the mechanism of action. If you were like me and you were out last night, and you had a few too many Jamesons, and you woke up in the morning and you're like, okay, I got to get this thing together. I got to present today. So you pop a couple aspirin. Mechanism of action is the thing that happens from that particular drug, from a pharmacokinetic standpoint, that makes the effect possible. Okay, it's the oil that lubricates the gears for the effect that you want to generate. And that's in the kind of biology sense, in the pharmacokinetic sense. In the case of sales, you need to think about your product. Enterprise sales reps, stuff that costs like $1 million a year or more, hands up in the air. Okay, $500,000 to $1 million a year. My recurring revenue friends, software as a service. All right, cool. So we got lots of those. Think of what it is that your product solves. In our case, we connect different cloud systems together, business systems. You could be selling some kind of widget. Figure out what that pain-solving aspect of your widget is. Okay, that's your mechanism of action. And you want to think about the mechanism of action of your business. Now, Put yourself in the ideology of a sales rep. You're a sales rep yourself, but I want you to think about a different business. Just some sales rep that you've never ever met. That person who's to the right of you, that you kind of like, and then the person to the left that you don't really like. Okay, think about what they're motivated by. We didn't get into sales because it's fun. We get into sales because it pays, right? So we're coin-operated people. And you need to think about the aspects of the different sales teams that you're going to be working with. We're going to be talking about hosts in a minute that make them tick. There's three things that are the mechanisms of actions for salespeople themselves. I want to find out how to shorten their sales cycle. I want to figure out how to help them close bigger deals, and I want them to close them bigger deals, and I want them to close more of it. So increase closing percentage, increase in deal size, and reduction in sales time. Okay? Look at your product, find out how it achieves those three things. Not in terms of the prospect, but in terms of another sales rep. All right? Now, moving from there, this is going to be the best slide you'll see this entire presentation. This is not to make you excited about lunch. Kirby, what are we doing for lunch? Hot dogs? Awesome. That would be great if we could do that. But we're doing sandwiches, all right? But this is going to stick in your mind for the entire presentation. You're going to be thinking about this delicious hot dog. All right? Not how I would do it. I'm originally from Detroit. Other people from Chicago, they have their own ideas on how this hot dog should be put together. But this has to do with economics. All right? And the next phase of the process of building a viral sales channel. The first was the watch slide, what was it called? Mechanism of action. Excellent. Okay. The second piece here is going to be called the host identification, okay? Or known as host range. Burn that in your brain. Hot dog, host range. Hot dog, host range. Okay. We need to find other businesses, identify products and services that have a negative cross-elasticity of demand. A hot dog is an excellent example of cross-elasticity of demand. If you have 10,000 hot dog buns, what's the one thing that you want? A hot dog. You got 10,000 buns, put a hot dog on. So the more hot dogs that are sold, or the more hot dog buns that are sold, there's more value to its complementary product. Go Google that. Negative cross-elasticity of demand or hot dog sales. It may even come up. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. Be careful with that Google search. Keep safe search on. All right. So this is our host range, hot dog host range, right? That's in your head. Next piece, vectors. Any math majors? Not that kind of vector. More the biological sense. So in kind of you think about how are we going to expose these individuals? We figured out the mechanism of action, so how we're improving a sales process for a different company, okay? In light of how our product works. We're then, in the next piece, going to identify the host range, the types of businesses that are going to most benefit us. We're going to write these businesses down. We're going to write down the names of the companies. And now we need to infect them. You have a product, a service, some sales DNA that you want to replicate in another organism. In the case of viruses, it's the simplest possible unit to transfer DNA. The scientific community doesn't even think it's a living thing. It doesn't have mitochondria or cytoplasm or organelles or any of these things. It's just a little capsule full of DNA. And it attaches to something else, and then that cell goes and replicates. Okay? There's three different vectors that you can think about in an organization. This is based on my experience in Hubspot and Batchbook Data and all the different organizations that I've worked with before. One is what I'll call the corporate exposure vector. This corporate exposure vector is it's that email you get every week from your product team saying like, oh, here's the new partnership that we did with so-and-so and delete. You know that, right? You get that email and like, oh, there's some great new feature. Delete. So we want to probably avoid that business exposure vector. Because if somebody from the product marketing team is telling you, oh, this great new feature, we partner with XYZ, you're a sales rep, you're a coin operator, I don't give a crap. Yeah, I got to be really careful about the S word and the F-bombs and all that stuff because I tend to do it in my day-to-day life. Oops, sorry, Mom. So one vector is the business communication. The second vector is direct exposure. And this is how you're going to go into a business. You're going to go on LinkedIn. You're going to find sales reps that are crushing. You can tell. They have smiles on their faces. They've been there like 6 months. They're talking it up on all kinds of social media. And you're going to directly reach out to those individuals with material that is branded for them. Okay? Suppose I work with a company named XYZ Corp. I'm going to reach out to one of XYZ Corp's sales reps and say, hey, my name's John, CEO and co-founder over at Bedrock Data. We have this data integration platform that helps businesses to be able to connect all their different systems. I think you can close more sales if you use this as part of your process, when can we talk? Your target now is not the individual prospect, but then a sales rep in another organization. In this direct vector, you're going to write down all the different ways that you can get a hold of them. Social media is great. Okay? A lot of good sales reps are on LinkedIn. They're connecting with their prospects on LinkedIn. Do the exact same thing. Put something like, sales something to entice the title, and if they actually take the bait on the invitation, or reach out to like 5 or 10 different individuals. And you're going to start by assisting these people to close their deals. We have a mechanism of action that is going to shorten their sales cycle, that is going to make them more efficient, bigger deals, et cetera, et cetera. We know that the business is in alignment. And that's for presentation time, right? 5 minutes for presentation? Okay, cool. So we got Q&A. We also have our vectors identified. And as we reach out to these individuals, we're going to give them the branded material that they need so that they can close their deals faster. This is how we get them to replicate our DNA. Right? We're not even going to give them a choice here because they're going to close more deals. Why would you not take more cash? Your sales reps, come on. So this other vector that you can have, and this really applies inside of an organization. When you look at the types of organizations, you're going to have better luck with inside sales teams. It's given a set of, say, like 5 or 10 different businesses. Inside sales teams, young sales teams, people that are heavy on social media, make sure they're nice and cramped. It's a high growth place, they're all smashing like sardines. Because when some sales rep gets on the phone and they say, oh yeah, great to have you get started, Mr. So-and-so, and absolutely you're going to be working with Bedrock Data, the guys at Bedrock Data are going to take care of you just fine. Well, I'm sitting next to this guy and he's at the top of the charts. What the hell is he doing that I'm not doing? I keep hearing Bedrock Data over and over and over, and I ask, you mentioned something about Bedrock Data, what is it? It's like, oh, these guys, they do this integration thing, and it fits really well with our product and service, and I'm able to close more deals because whatever deficiency that we have internally at business XYZ, and I can close more deals now, I'm closing them faster, getting bigger deals because of it. Well, crap, I want that too. So, well, here's the material that they sent over to me, here's the direct phone number to their CEO. If I've got questions, I can call them up. And you can. If you're selling on behalf of Bedrock Data inside of your own sales organization, I give you my cell phone. Because I want you to be super comfortable with how Bedrock Data, or your particular product, if you're building your own channel, fits with this whole process. It's not going to be like you're going to be on the phone every single second with these individuals. It only takes 2 or 3 sales calls, and then I got it. I don't need you guys anymore. I know how your product and service fits in with my stuff. I know how to replicate the DNA. Just let me do it. And you just let them go, and they go, and they sell more deals because they're sales reps, right? Cool. So 3 different vectors of infection. There's the direct vector. There's a corporate vector, which is bullshit because this is a biz dev team, and you're going to delete that email. And then there's the social vector, so inside of the organization. And we want everybody coughing and shaking hands and all that fun stuff. You guys get the imagery? All right, this is exactly how it works in the animal kingdom. That's why it works in the real world. We're macrocosms of the things that make us up, and this is the most microcosmic piece of material. It's one little piece of DNA that just goes and attaches. All right. Next part of the process: do your job, close your deal, don't screw it up. Simple, cool. If you've done your homework and you're a professional salesperson, you shouldn't have to think twice to do a demo. You shouldn't have to think at all when it comes to like negotiations. You should very much slipstream the process. Walk in there, shake the hands, get the hell out. Don't be like those people in the back. I don't know what they're doing. They're having a great time though, apparently. All right, so do your job. Last piece is on contagion. Then we'll open it up to questions. Contagion is the process of getting from, and again, sorry if you're a doctor in the room, but is the process of getting from one organization to another. I've infected organization A, how do I get into organization B? And you can start the process again, and it'll work just fine. But it's actually a little bit better if you use things like co-marketing, case studies, joint white papers. If I'm an organization that is either competitive to or adjacent to this organization, I see a white paper come out, and the reason that they were able to close the deal is because Bedrock Data was involved, and it's a whole new novel way and a whole new use case that they weren't able to sell into before, then all of a sudden I want to be a part of that. And you're going to use those materials to say the reason why, Mr. VP of Sales, because you've climbed up the ranks now, you've moved up the organization, you have proof positive because there's sales reps in your team right now that are using viral sales to close more deals. Proof positive, you move up the ladder and you slowly take over the organization. Now when we go and we cross contagion, we cross into a different organization using the same mechanisms from the bottom, but now we have the additional leverage by having somebody higher in the organization doing an intro, an industry friend, or a friend of me. you guys know, you're connected to competitors, you're connected to ancillary businesses as well, and you talk about software and services. Use that channel to your advantage, and then make sure that it's easy for this stuff to share. People need to be able to share this stuff. So that's the mechanism, that's the hack on that's great, outside sales, inside sales, viral sales. This is the new stuff. That's all I got. Thank you very much. Okay, I can do 3 questions. It's awesome, so I have my timeline. This is just a generally delectable slide. Looks kind of like a smiley face. I don't know. Let me ask. Questions around viral sales? Yep.
Can you give an example of a successful marketing initiative?
Yeah, so Batchbook is, sorry guys, a pipeline. Batchbook is a CRM that we did a co-marketing process with. We worked with their sales team, and then we did a big webinar around, it was inbound marketing, it was social selling, it was CRM, it was integration, all kind of tied together. So that was after we had a good established relationship with the reps inside of the company. Co-marketing should be educational, webinars should be educational, part of that content engine that we were talking about earlier. Similar in process, but I think that's a little bit later on. That's when you're kind of jumping from organization to organization. Focus on the organization itself first and affecting people. Sure.
Hey John, Kyle Porter. Could you tell us about the largest deal that was closed in your business that didn't have sales touch?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question, and thank you, Kyle, for asking. The question was around what's the biggest size deal that you can get away with in this particular process. One of the things that I found in the science of how we've priced our products, and then also working with other people that are trying this, is it's harder to, you can't have a bigger price tag than the product that you're piggybacking on top of. It can be almost equivalent. So we have services that we integrate with that are, say, $100 a month, and they'll pay us $100 a month. And that sales rep will say, well, yeah, it's $100 a month for our stuff, but then it's $100 a month to integrate it. So really, pretty much at parity, up to parity, you can get to in terms of your cost and their cost. If you cost more than their stuff, then you're going to run into some problems. And then you have to really think about product market fit. And you should go back and find bigger 800-pound gorillas or bigger products so that you become easier and kind of part of the flow. Make sense? Cool.
I'm talking for a minute, so I apologize for the repetitive question. But how do you identify that host rate? Let's say you have no particular concept of what would complement. Like an integration tool is obvious,
Yep.
right? Whatever
Yep.
you're
Super straightforward.
I
Yep.
use it. I sell an end user tool. He sells website building. How do you find that it's complementary?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll take, they mentioned Yesware, Signals is another one. There's a bunch of these like end user sales tools that are out there. I think we've got a launch. We'll meet the guys over here. We got some new tools as well. Think about, my company would be a great host for a end consumer product because I have connections into business users. So we are able to connect all these different systems together, but if you have like an end consumer product, like for an actual sales rep, you have to think about the people that are already selling to those sales reps. So it might be, Salesforce is really a big instance of that. It's kind of hard to infect a company like that. They built up some pathogens against this process. But to answer your question, it's more along the lines of finding the things that have that negative cross-elasticity of demand and that host range. So get really creative in thinking about the different types of products, okay? Think about what is the hot dog to your butt. Don't think about that. So I know kind of a nebulous answer, and we can take it offline, but I need to know a little bit more about your product. Make sense? And I think we got time for just one more, or we're good? Oh, Kirby let me get away with one more. All right, better be a good one. Nobody's stepping up to the plate. All right, cool. Thank you very much. Again, John Marcus, head up.